Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Kofi DSE, a postdoctoral research fellow. I am very happy to have you and to discuss with you issues around learners with physical disabilities. The topic for our discussion today is understanding the impact of physical impairments of learners. Understanding the impact of physical impairments of learners. By the end of this lesson, we will be able to understand the impact, effects of physical impairments on children in the classroom. Number two, list at least 3 barriers that impact on children with physical impairments in the classroom. At this time, I want us to watch a very short video. After we watch the video, then we will continue. Let's watch it.
Big distinct difference between a partially accessible school and a fully accessible school. In partially accessible schools, there's certain classrooms or maybe like clubs that I wouldn't be able to do because of an accessibility like barrier. But in fully accessible schools, I'm able to access everything that I would want to. So it was really important for me to only look at fully accessible schools because I wanted to have the typical high school experience just like everyone else.
Just like everybody else, I'm looking for, rigorous curriculum. I'm looking for teachers who are nice and supportive. I'm also looking for fully accessible schools. Only 11 out of 120 schools are fully accessible in the whole borough of Brooklyn.
Part of the reason why I chose Beacon in the first place was that it's in a fully accessible building that was erected in 2015.
Accessibility was a big part for looking for high schools for me because I couldn't go up and down the stairs like everyone else from period to period. There were schools that were not fully accessible. Like I would have to go up the stairs to go to the gym because the elevator wasn't there, or it would often be broken down.
There wasn't much choice. I told my parents what I wanted. We visited 2 schools, Bard Queens and School of the Future. It must be a fully accessible school for me to attend it.
Accessibility-wise, that was the #1 thing. Even though I really wanted to go to an arts-based high school, my mom really set that to be the first thing on our list.
I remember looking at one school that was advertised to me as fully accessible, and I went on a tour of that school, and it was a brand new building, and I thought, oh, this could be a great option for me. I went to go use the bathroom, and I couldn't even get into the bathroom or turn around, even though it was the accessible bathroom, so I found that kind of confusing.
They might just not have elevators, so I'll have to stay on one floor the whole time, or they don't have an accessible bathroom. So every time I need to use the bathroom, I'll have to climb up 4 steps, which is physically tiring, obviously.
I think it's important to be able to explore, to be able to say, yes, I can go to your room, teacher, and do this, and you don't have to change the, rooms around.
Full accessibility was the first cut. I didn't look at any non-accessible schools. Then I looked at schools with strong academics.
I remember going on a school tour that was somewhere pretty far downtown, and to get there, I had to take the subway. And what I remember on that day, I had to take like 5 elevators just to even like get out of the subway onto the street. And then there was like another elevator that was broken, and it was just like a whole situation. And then I got to the tour late, and I was like, if I can't even like take the subway to this school, then why would I even consider going there?
Yes, welcome back. So you see, when we talk about the impact or physical disability, it has to do with a whole lot of things. You have watched the video. What questions can you ask yourself about the impact and the accessibility that children with physical disability have when they find themselves in the various schools? We have a lot of questions that we can ask ourselves. Now, just a moment, thank you. A number of conditions may result in physical impairments, some of which are permanent, others are temporal or intermittent in nature. Some of these conditions include cerebral palsy, arthritis, muscular dystrophy, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, and repetitive strain injury. Speech and vision may also be affected in students with cerebral palsy and multiple sclerosis. Back or neck injuries may also affect general mobility. Physical disability may also result from head injury, acquired brain injury. Generally, physical disability or any other disabilities may occur at prenatal, perinatal, and postnatal period of pregnancy. When we talk about prenatal, that is from conception till labor. A lot of factors are accounted for children or persons having any kind of disability. Perinatal is the duration of labor when the mother is about to deliver, to give birth. And the postnatal is where the child has finally come down. So at every stage of the prenatal, perinatal, and postnatal, there are a lot of factors that may be responsible for a person becoming disabled or a child having physical disability. We still move forward. Now let's look at the definition of physical disability. According to the Disabled World 2015 and the Euroqual Group of 2009, a physical disability is a physical condition that affects a person's mobility, physical capacity, stamina, or dexterity. This can include brain or spinal cord injuries, multiple sclerosis, cerebral palsy, respiratory disorders, epilepsy, hearing and visual impairments, and more. can have more and more and more and more. Who are learners with physical disabilities? Learners with physical disabilities may have problems related to movement, posture. For instance, sitting, standing, walking, grasping or manipulating objects, communication, eating, perception, or reflex movements. Some of devices that learners with mobility or physical impairments will use or may use are wheelchairs, crutches or stick, toy cane, hearing aid, braille materials, academic barriers also account and impact the learners in their classrooms. Now let's look at the impact of physical impairment on the learner. Coordination and balance may be mildly or severely affected by any of these conditions. 1. Movement may be impaired by muscle spasms, numbness, and or pain. As a consequence, both manipulation of equipment and writing may be difficult. Some students use wheelchairs to enhance their mobility, whilst others will walk with the aid of calipers, crutches, or walking stick. Some students may experience chronic fatigue, and for others, there will be extreme fluctuations of energy from day to day. Now let's look at the impact of physical disability on learning of our children who are in schools. The impact of physical disability on learning will vary, but for most students, the issues of most significance relate to the following. Number 1, physical access. When we talk about physical access, we are referring from home. Transportation from home to the school, the roads and the road network that leads to the school. We also talk about the school compound. We talk about the classroom itself. How does it look like? Manipulation of equipment. Example, in laboratories and in the classroom. Access to computers, such as modified keyboards, on-screen and touch-screen keyboards, specialized mice, text and screen reading software, speech-to-text software, magnification software, and eye-gaze communication devices. Participation in field trips and the time and energy expended in moving around campus. I remember in my own case, when I was doing my master's program, we had a workshop. And at the end of this 3-day workshop, the group decided to go on excursion. And that was in Ghana. And the university was Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. So we traveled to Obuasi gold mines. So they were to take us underground where they do the digging, where they do the mining. Those of us who were disabled were denied. They told us that no, you cannot go there because you are disabled. There are a whole lot of things that impact on our learning. Apart from the physical things that we see, we have the psychological, we have the emotional, You see the picture number 3. This is a staircase that is leading to a classroom. A child with a wheelchair. How can he or she have access to the classroom? The picture number 4 depicts a crowded class where children are seated on the ground, just on the ground floor. And you see at my extreme right hand corner, picture number 5. And you see a classroom and a chalkboard. Seeing how this chalkboard are splitted into 3, and then you see how the classroom has been arranged. These are environments that impact on the learning of a child with physical disability. Students may be affected in the following ways. When there is limited time to move up between venues, students may miss the beginning of a class. For this first point, when I was doing my undergraduate study, bachelor's degree, at university, I had to carry tables and chairs from one lecture hall to the other lecture hall. Me, being physically disabled, this affected my learning greatly. Number 2, more time may be required to do some tasks. Somebody may use 5 minutes to write a paragraph or 2 paragraphs. Another child who is physically impaired may need 1 hour to write just a paragraph or 2 paragraphs. Fatigue is common for many of these students using facilities such as toilets, as we heard from the video, food outlets, libraries, lecture rooms may be a major task. Students may have frequent or unexpected absence from class owing to hospitalization or changes in their rehabilitation or treatment procedure. Earlier periods of hospitalization may have meant gaps in schooling. Students with a long-standing mobility disability may have experienced gaps in their school due to the periods of hospitalization. This may have affected their confidence in learning. Students with a mobility impairment may have fewer opportunities for interaction with other students. Feelings of separateness in the learning environment may have an impact on learning. Students, we can use UDL to support these learners. How can we support them? Facilitate discussions with students. So here, facilitating discussions with students means make sure that the school environment and the classrooms are all accessible to learners with physical impairment. So here, we can address learner variations. So for this first point, if you recall, principle number 1, the principles of UDL. Principle number 1, engagement, sustained effort, and persistence. Discussion fosters collaboration and community. Number 2, provide transcripts of self-made videos or screencasts, like what I'm doing, from the presenters or via way with words. Here again, you see the principle number 2 also coming into play. Representation. Perception. Transcript provides an alternative for auditory information. Let's go to the next, which is the third. Write instructional and contextual text to go with readings and videos. So we can also see that to address learners' variations, here we can use the principle number 2, representation. So here, comprehension, highlights patterns, critical features, big ideas, and relationships. And number 4, how can we support them? Allow students to respond via text, voice, videos, charts, diagrams, body language, etc., etc. So once you give this opportunity to learners, you are practicing the principle number 3 of UDL, action and expression. Expression and communication. Use multiple media for communication. For example, blogs allows for responses via text, video, audio, and all other platforms. We shall soon come to the end of the presentation. Here are some few references that I have made with regards to this presentation. Thank you for your attention. I will be glad to respond to your questions, either on Friday or anytime you post them to me. Thank you again, and have happy learning. I wish you all the best in your learning. Bye-bye.